Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. Today, I'm inspired by Monet. I got a new book, and I'll share more about that in just a few minutes. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to get a good color palette. And so I'm taking you through how my experimentation process works. I'm taking you through how my journal works and how it serves so many purposes for inspiration, for ideas, for all kinds of things. So I'm going to try a few things with you, and then we'll come back together and talk through it and see where we go. Well, hello, my loves, and happy Sunday to you. So far you have seen me experimenting, and you've seen what my inspiration is, and I am in love with this new book that I got. So before we dive in here, I just want to let you know that all the supplies and the links are listed on the blog, and the link to the blog is down below in the YouTube description box. The other thing I want to tell you, what was the other thing? I'm trying to remember. Maybe there isn't anything else. I do want to say thank you for all your comments. I just love them. I love the comments that you leave down below and the emails that I get. I get to hear so many of your stories, and I feel so honored and blessed that I get to be part of your journey. And so I just want to say thank you for that. I'm so grateful. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe so you never miss a video, and we can walk this creative journey together. Okay, so today I have been adventuring through some Monet-ish ideas. And so let's take a look at what I've got going on down here. Okay, so here's my Monet book, and I showed you this earlier, but this is really kind of the start of that inspiration. Now this is his famous piece, The Water Lilies. And I don't want to create water lilies. I've kind of created something that looks similar to that here, but I want to create, I'm looking at the looseness and the brush strokes, the unique brush strokes that Monet has, and how free they are. I mean, they're just fantastic. And I'm trying to give you a close up here of those just loose strokes. So let me, I've got several things marked, and this was not an expensive book, which I was surprised, but it has so many of his works of art. And it's interesting to watch how an artist, the styles and all of the different genres of things that he painted, and yet it's still his style. It's that loose kind of touched brush strokes on all of his pieces, and I love that. But I'm looking specifically at the florals because that's my journey. And so I'm just going to kind of bring this up, and hopefully you can see that. But the strokes, while he doesn't have any like defining lines, obviously there's definition in what he does, but the looseness of them are just fantastic. And this is a great example of his style and how you can see there's just these touches of brush strokes in there to give you the idea of a flower, whether it, from up close, you can see the definition of each brushstroke, but from far away, they look, different. And so it's a matter of learning to unsee some things and do things differently, for me at least, in how I want to create my florals. But even so, like, this is not the water lilies. These are flowers on the side of the pond. I'll kind of bring that in close, so hopefully you can see that. The strokes, it's just like simple strokes. And sometimes I think I overcomplicate, well, I know I overcomplicate everything. but so this is like water lilies, and from far away, you don't see the strokes, the brush strokes. You just actually see the whole picture. And that's what I love. But they're very simple. I'll kind of come in a little bit more here. Very simple. And I say very simple because it's not simple. I mean, he's mastered his technique. But this is the one. I think this is the one that I'm looking at. No, that's blue background. But so gorgeous. So, even just his landscapes, just the brush strokes, single brush strokes. And just bring that in. Just those single brush strokes is fantastic. So, Lessons from Monet. This is a great book. It was very inexpensive on Amazon, and it's got all of his works in it. It's got his history. Really, really fascinating if you like that kind of thing. So I'll have a link to this book in the description, or in the supplies list on the blog. Okay, I'm going to set that back here. Now, I also, before I started, which is not something I typically do, I tried to decide on a color palette to help me simplify things, to stick to not get over complicated about what I'm doing. So I had 2 greens, and I've been cleaning out supplies, and so I have found some things that I've forgotten about. So I'm using some sap green and some phthalo green yellow. The only thing that I don't like about these ones is that they're shiny, and all of my custom paints that I have developed or found from Home Depot are all matte, and I love the matte finish. So I may end up going back over some of what I do with some matte medium to take away the shine. But this is Naphthol Red Medium. And of course it's got that shine too. These are so flats, so they're flat paint, which I love. And the only reason I don't use these more regularly is because they're really expensive, for my budget anyway. So I'm using up what I have, and then I'll go back to my other ones. But so I've mixed some of that Naphthol Red with the Bismuth Vandate Yellow, which that's quite a name. I've never even used that color before. The jar's pretty full. But when I mix the two, I get a beautiful orange. And then when I mix the two and I mix just a little bit of yellow into that red, I get this beautiful pink. I can mix my gesso into this red and get this lighter pink, and then kind of a combination. So there's a lot I can do with this red. And sometimes I think keeping it simple is the best, especially when we're experimenting. I added some black gesso to the red, and I get this really rich kind of maroon color. And it is gorgeous. And then my two greens. So let's see. Sap green and phthalo green yellow. And I added some gesso, and I added some black. And so I have a lot of color range with just these two greens. I'm also going to include some teal, obviously, because that's my color and that's what I love. So I want to try and stick to that color palette. I may add in some raw umber. So I've got the yellow, the red, the two greens, my teal, and then black and white and raw umber, possibly. Is what I am thinking. I also, his brush strokes are small. And so I started out with this, and this is a filbert brush, which is a great round tip brush for florals. I don't use filberts very often. So I'm going to experiment with those. But I'm going to go up just a little bit. I've got these two out right now. And this one's just a little, this is like a 1/2 inch. This one's more like a 1/4 inch. I'm going to go up a little bit, I think, for the background at least, to get some coverage. But I'm going to do it fast, and I want to just work with quick brush strokes. Now, for my background, of course, this is my experiment, and this is what my journal is for. My journey to, and I'll probably take notes on this once I get through my project. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to be working on a 12 by 12 MDF board with my color palette, with my brushes. I have some stencils selected. Whatever stencils I use today will be on sale this week. And these are the 5 by 8 stencils. This is the eucalyptus. This is the I always get the sample ones, so sometimes Rambling Branches 1 and 2. So I think I'm going to be using that in the background. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to, if I'm going to do them this way, because I kind of like, in my journal page, I like that kind of horizontal aspect of it, which I don't do very often. And then I have some collage papers, and I have this bucket of little bits. And if you've been around me at all, you probably have your own bucket of little bits. And I'm going to use these for the background. And I'm going to go horizontal with my collage papers in kind of strips is what I'm envisioning. So that's for the background. And then I'm going to just create my flowers loose, not like lily pads or anything like that. Kind of working in the same kind of theme that I have with my past couple of videos of florals, and see what I can find with this kind of loose brush stroke kind of thing. And let me see, what else do I have out here? I think that's it for where I am gonna go. Okay, so that's my plan. And as I was doing this, I was going back through my journaling, and I was looking at my word for the year, and my word for the year is adventure. And we are now, we're halfway through February, and sometimes our goals and our intentions kind of end up fading, over time. And I want to encourage you to continue to keep going on the path that you set, or your word for the year. Sometimes we need like a little push to keep going. Because as I was journaling, I came across my definitions for adventure. And so the definition for adventure is to do something that is unusual, exciting, and possibly dangerous. Now, I don't find any danger in this, except for the fact that I could be doing this for you and it could turn out to be just a complete mess, which is okay, because that's what I want to represent for you, is that we will never grow and we will never learn if we're not willing to make bad art. We will not find our voice or our style or anything unless we make bad stuff. Unless we get in here and we muck it up and we figure it out and we find out the things that we need to find out. But then also I had written down the deeper meaning of adventure. It's adventurous. Adventurous means eager for adventure. Both of those words, adventure and adventurous, come from the Latin word about to happen. What is about to happen here? I mean, I don't know, it excites me. What is about to happen? And adventure always has the elements of the unknown. And I think that is the hardest thing for us. I'll speak for myself. It's the hardest thing for me. The unknown of what is this going to look like? What is going to happen? How am I going to do this? I have no idea. I think that's the biggest stumbling block for us for even trying anything. So adventure always has an element of the unknown. It means you're willing to go where you haven't been before. And for me, I like the same path over and over. And so if I take a different direction to the grocery store or to the post office or to wherever, that is adventurous to me. We have to gauge our own adventure. Some may be really adventurous and not afraid to go up the mountain and down the other side that they've never been on. I have to take it in small steps. That's my personality. So be willing to go where you haven't been before and do things you've never done, which is what I am doing today. And it's what I want to do in all parts of my life. Even if you don't, be willing to do the things that you've never done, even if you don't know how it's going to turn out. And that is the hardest part. I know for me, perfection is a big deal, and I want to know that when I do it, it's going to be okay, that it's going to be beautiful. And that is the biggest thing that I have found through last year's curiosity and this year's adventure, is that I am more and more willing to make a mess of things first. And I'm not just talking about here in the studio. I'm talking about in life. I'm willing to walk into a situation terribly afraid, but I can be brave and afraid at the same time. And I'm going to say that over and over and over again this year, because that's what I'm learning. And I have heard from so many of you that that's what you are learning too. And we all have so many varied situations in our lives, and we have different seasons that we're in, and we're caring for people and things, and we're all in different spaces. And yet there's still room in all of our areas that we can be both brave and afraid. And I want to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable in whatever situation. And it's messy. It's really messy. It's messy to work on a relationship when you don't know how it's going to go, it's messy when you're trying to work out in a room full of people who know what they're doing and you don't. It's hard it's messy. Our lives are messy. And that's how it should be, because that's how we grow. That's how we gain confidence. That's how we learn. And I am willing to take those steps, baby steps. But we all have to take our own version of what growth looks like. So I encourage you today to be okay with the unknown, to be okay with the uncomfortable, and let go a little bit. Keep on moving forward on those big, audacious things that you wanted to do this year. Keep going. It's not a perfect path. It's not a straight line. We walk a couple of steps forward and then maybe a couple of steps back and then 20 steps forward. And then, keep going. Don't give up. You're doing great. All right, my loves. We'll see what adventure is happening today. I hope your Sunday is restful and peaceful, and I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.